In this video, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, but not in the way that you might think. This is a little bit of New Year's resolutions with a twist. I learned this from one of my heroes, my idols. If you're into digital nomad stuff at all, you know Mr. Timothy Ferriss. What is this called? Rather than setting New Year's resolutions, things that are big, highfalutin, things you might not even be able to achieve, what we're going to do instead is we're going to look back. We're going to do a year in review. In doing so, what I found super helpful and what Mr. Ferriss recommends, my man Mr. Ferriss, is you look back on the year, you go week by week or month by month, see what your highlights are, see what your lowlights are, and then in typical nomad, nerdy productivity fashion, you do an 80-20 on those things. And so that might sound kind of strange and convoluted, but I want to break it down for you exactly what this looks like. I've done it for myself and I'm excited to share it with you guys today. So that sounds great in theory, but what does this actually look like? I'd say get your calendar on your phone, your computer, whatever it is, and you create a to-do list and a not to-do list. We're gonna go through and look at the people, the places, the activities that brought you the most joy, the real highlights, the things that you said, wow, you look back on, you get that little warm, fuzzy something, you know, maybe some tingles and jingles going on because you liked it. On the other hand, we're gonna do what things did not give you that feeling, what things did you feel like were an obligation that kind of dragged you down, took your energy. Maybe this is people as well, people that you said, that was a little bit too much drama, right? Something that you didn't love, and we're gonna make note of those too. So that way at the end, you have these kind of two lists, and then I have my own little kind of Kia spin on it that I threw onto Tim's kind of idea because that's typical Kia. I like to kind of remix things. And so that's what I want to share with you guys a little bit later on. So first thing I'm going to do is break down what I liked. What were some of the highlights, the things that made me feel good, either activities or people, and we're going to start with that. So the first one was dating, calling good friends and family. I had this sense of community at the men's circle in Medellin. Also a sense of community going through martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the boxing, the Muay Thai, spending time near the beach in Brazil, and going hiking with friends down here in Rio is my friend Spencer, and in Florianopolis it was my friend Marina. I also loved being back home in New York with my family, and even though we're up on this little hilltop, spending time with family, it'll be months at a time, is always rad seeing my bro, his fiance. There was also a time when my family, we went to Europe for 2 weeks to travel around Ireland, which was amazing. But then also I split off on my own and went to see a buddy in London. And I spent a weekend with him and his wife. And that was really rad too. I'd forgotten about that. I was like, man, that was really nice. And then in terms of just kind of like the day-to-day stuff, I realized that I really like working on this YouTube channel, both in terms of the writing for it and then just filming these videos and editing, things of that nature. Making music, of course. Lately, I've really fallen in love with writing. I'm trying short stories and poetry, just making like mini documentaries, but with poetry. This whole writing piece is kind of new to me. So overall, those were the things I liked, different activities. I noted down some particular people. I'm not gonna give you a shout out yet because I don't want anybody to feel left out. But there are particular people that I wrote down that said, whenever I left this conversation, I felt better about myself. I felt good, I felt energized. And so how can I make more time to spend with those people? Now jumping into the next column, going back through the year, now I just said, what were the low points in here? What didn't I love? When I was in Florianopolis, I did feel a little bit lonely. I didn't have a ton of friends. I had my one friend Marina, but she lived kind of across the island. And so it was this intense training camp, which was, I loved the physical intensity, but I did feel a little bit lonely, and I could connect over the phone with stuff. But with those, what was it, 12, 14 weeks, I never really hung out that much with other people other than my trainer and my landlord and Marina and her friends. And so that felt a little bit lonely, and that was kind of tough. I didn't like the drama that came with dating and trying to have this one relationship that ended up throwing me for a loop. I don't like drama. And I know people that normally say that, especially in online dating profiles, are always the most dramatic. The ones that are like, I don't like drama. And you can just tell, you look like you love drama. But I actually don't, and I sincerely mean it. I think this is why I don't jump into more intimate relationships, because it takes so much mental bandwidth. I had a little riff with my brother and his fiance this last year because of some decisions that I'd made, and so that kind of stirred some weird stuff up. And so for the most part, like, my life is drama free. Like with work stuff, I know how to handle that well. With friends, if there's a little drama, I always know how to deal with that. You know how it goes. There's always, with family, it's always particular, and then with significant other, those are two certain types of drama that I don't really dig. Those were both not high points for me exactly. I didn't love trying to make it on TikTok. I tried really hard. I tried my hand at really going all out on social media this last year, especially with the music stuff. And that TikTok grind is not one that I loved. And that, for me, really was noticeable. And so that's something I want to jump into a little bit later. Another thing that I struggled with was going out to LA. When I was in LA, that kind of threw me for a loop. Another time was when I went to Atlanta. I went to Atlanta for this shoot for work. It was cool, but just being back in the States right now isn't exactly my vibe. And so every time I'm back there, unless I'm up on the hilltop with my folks, it always feels just a little bit strange. I feel like a fish out of water. I feel like there's kind of friction there. And so that I'd noted as well. I didn't like when I got injured. And so I've stopped sparring in boxing, even though right now, as I'm making this video, I still have a headache because I did some sparring recently by accident. I got carried away, and that's unfortunate. So I'm like, Kia, no more sparring because it sucks and it hurts. 2, I got injured doing Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I've kind of let those 2 go because being injured just sucks. The last 2 things were, there were some folks that I realized that I didn't always feel the best from, like energy-wise, leaving those interactions. And also a lot of the times this was spending time with the wrong women. I'm a man, I'm on my journey, I'm still seduced by a good big booty babe, you know what I mean? And sometimes that can be really difficult where I'm like, I think to myself, I'm like, would I still be here if I weren't trying to sleep with this person? And unfortunately, a lot of times that answer is no, but it's because I'm so into them that you kind of stick around and put up with shenanigans that you normally wouldn't put up with. That's kind of one of Kia's big, I wouldn't say New Year's resolutions, but just life resolutions in general, is like stop spending time with the wrong women. Easier said than done. I don't love being on calls for work, like Zoom calls. That was a big one for me. When I would go through and be like, what during the week made me feel most alive? It was when I could shoot videos, I could write, I had more autonomy over my schedule. I love having freedom over my schedule. It really grinds my gears when I have a bunch of meetings, and that draws energy from me. I feel like it doesn't give me energy. And so if I can have my perfect day, I'm spending more time creating content, shooting content, editing, writing, whatever, being creative, and then walking around, having calls with friends or work too in the afternoon. I don't like making calls start the day because it just kind of throws me for a little bit of a loop. So those are some things I noticed. Okay, so now that we have all of that out of the way, kind of Kia's likes and dislikes, I hope that didn't take too long. I want to throw you my spin on it. This is Kia's New Year's resolution spin. And this is once you have your activities in your 2 columns, what really stood out, people, places, things, both good and bad, to ask why. When you go through, say why, maybe 1, 2, 3 times, and then draw out some of the big themes that you want to create for the next year. So for me, these are a couple themes that I've found that for me just resonated once I was able to kind of put all the pieces together. The first one is feeling connected. I like to feel like I have a sense of community. I still do when I call my friends, I call my family, but there's something different when you actually find people that are part of your community. And so for me, that's really big. And so I want to start making more of an effort to go to conferences for nomads, spend more time in nomad circles, making more friends, going out to these nomad things, because those are my people. I don't really thrive well in nightclubs anymore. That's another thing. I mean, it's not like I ever really did, but that's one of my big things was like daytime activities for me work really well. Now that I'm older, I'm sensitive to music, I'm sensitive to big crowds. I like to do things like going on hikes or going out to different events, going out for little happy hour things or meetups, you know, these things that happen where you can hang and chat with people. It's less for me like going to shows or concerts or things. Those were not highlights for me. So I want to feel connected, go out and meet people more through certain activities where I actually have a chance to interact with people. Another one, this will come as no surprise, is travel. Those were some of my highlights: going to Brazil, going to Medellin, going to London, going to Europe and Ireland, coming here to Rio. I like to travel. I like that vibe of posting up in different places. That'll continue to be something that I love, and really I want to make time for that this next year. It's just going to be more geared towards Southeast Asia, I think. Movement. Typical Kia stuff. This is no surprise. When I had my training camp in Floripa, I was hitting Muay Thai every day for the most part, more Muay Thai or boxing, and then I would lift in the evenings. Your boy was getting shreddy. I need to throw some photos up here because, bro, I was in shape. I was eating good. Your boy was on some shit when I was in Floripa. I fell off a little bit on the wagon. Every time I go back home, I just kind of grub pretty hard, but I'm getting back there, back to fight shape. But I like movement. I like being active. I like moving my body. I like combat sports as long as I'm not getting hit in the head. And so really making an effort to make sure those are a part of my life still, I think is important. This next one will come as no surprise. I like warm climates. Who would have thought? When I was in Florida with my dad, I went to go see his family. That was really nice. I liked being in Floripa. I like being here in Rio, Medellin. I love being upstate with my mom and dad, especially during the fall because it's beautiful. But I'm part lizard, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I like to have a hot rock that can expose myself to the sun, especially here in Rio. I'm topless most of the time, shorts, flip-flops. I'm near the beach. This is my vibe. Your boy thrives in the warm climates, y'all, period. A couple last things, and one of them that I saw that was reoccurring when I was thinking like, I didn't love this, it was spending a lot of time on social media. Off TikTok, off Instagram for the most part, off Facebook for the most part. I post and I ghost. I'm on YouTube because I just love YouTube and that's what I make these videos for. So I do spend some time on YouTube, but I have a plug-in so that I don't get recommended videos. So I go in, I do what I want to do, and I bounce. Spending less time online, more time in person, for me has been a game changer. And the last one for your boy is how much I love learning. I've been learning Portuguese through this online application that I've been using. I was learning how to sing. I was engaged in like this async singing course. I've been learning boxing, obviously, Muay Thai, some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been learning photo and video, and I'm learning how to write. I'm just a sponge. I'm curious about life. I'm hungry for life. I'm a glutton for it and for experiences, and I love to learn. That for me is been really important, is how can I invest more resources for myself into learning, whether these are week-long or weekend writing workshops, whether this is hiring a coach, whether this is taking actual classes in Portuguese or in languages, in photo, video. How can I invest more of my resources into learning so that I can pick up these skills that I'm interested in faster? That's really important. Pay a premium in order to get farther along. So the farther along that you get, for myself, when I could sing better, when I could take better photos, when I was better at the language, they all get way more fun. You kind of got to get past this initial friction stage. And once you're past that, I mean, my Portuguese is still terrible, don't get it twisted, but I can at least kind of maneuver a little bit. Same with all this stuff. If I can kind of accelerate through that first friction, it's way more fun just to kind of get that like beginning intermediate stage. And so for me, that's a big one. How can I learn, set aside resources to make more of a community and learn and have experiences this next year? Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate y'all. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you want to see, what you want to hear. If you liked it, if you didn't, you the bomb, and I'll check you on the next one. Peace.